Hello everyone and welcome back to the sanctuary. I hope you are ready for another history lesson because I got a special one in store for you, alright? Have you ever been curious to know how Black History Month came about or who even started it? I hope so because that's what we're talking about today. Mr. Carter G. Woodson is the founding father of Black History Month. Yes, it actually only started out as a week. Let's dive into his story. Mr. Woodson was an African-American historian, author, journalist, and the founder of the Association for the Study of African-American Life and History. Woodson was one of the first scholars to study African-American history. A founder of the Journal of Negro History in 1915, Woodson has been cited as the father of Black history. Mr. Woodson was born in Buckingham County, Virginia on December 19, 1875. The son of former slaves James and Eliza Riddle Woodson, his father helped Union soldiers during the Civil War and moved his family to West Virginia when he heard that Huntington was building a high school for blacks. Coming from a large poor family, Carter Woodson could not regularly attend school. Through self-instruction, Woodson mastered the fundamentals of common school subjects by age 17. Wanting more education, Carter went to Fayette County to earn a living as a miner in the coal fields. He was able to devote only a few months each year to his schooling. In 1895, at the age of 20, Woodson entered Douglas High School, where he received his diploma in less than 2 years. From 1897 to 1900, Woodson taught at Winona in Fayette County. In 1900, he was selected as the principal of Douglas High School. From 1903 to 1907, Woodson was a school supervisor in the Philippines. Later, he attended the University of Chicago, where he was awarded an AB and an AM in 1908. He was a member of the first Black professional fraternity, Sigma Pi Phi, and a member of Omega Psi Phi. He completed his PhD in history at Harvard University in 1912, where he was the second African American after W.E.B. Du Bois to earn a doctorate. His doctoral dissertation, The Disruption of Virginia, based on research he did at the Library of Congress while teaching high school in Washington, D.C. After earning the doctoral degree, he continued teaching in public schools, later joined the Howard University as a professor, where he served as Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Yes. Convinced that the role of African American history in the history of other cultures was being ignored or misrepresented among scholars, Woodson saw a need for research into the neglected past of African Americans. Along with Alexander L. Jackson, Woodson published The Education of the Negro prior to 1861 in 1915. Woodson believed that education and increasing social and professional contacts among blacks and whites could reduce racism, and he promoted the organized study of African American history partly for that purpose. In addition to his first book, he wrote A Century of Negro Migration, which continues to be published by the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. He studied many aspects of African American history. For instance, in 1924, he published the first survey of free black slave owners in the United States in 1930. He once wrote, "If you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. If you can determine what a man thinks, you do not have to worry about what he will do. If you can make a man believe that he is inferior, you don't have to compel him to seek an inferior status. He will do without being told, and if you can make a man believe that he is justly an outcast, you don't have to order him to the back door. He will go to the back door on his own, and if there is no back door, the very nature of the man will demand that you build one." That's sad. Woodson became affiliated with the Washington, D.C. branch of the NAACP and its chairman, Archibald Grimke, on January 28, 1950. He wrote a letter to Grimke expressing his dissatisfaction with activities. Woodson made two proposals. First was that the branch secure an office for a center to which persons may report whatever concerns the black race may have, and from which the association may extend its operation into every part. Second was that a canvasser be appointed to enlist members and obtain subscriptions for The Crisis, the NAACP magazine edited by W.E.B. Du Bois. Grimke did not welcome Mr. Woodson's ideas. On March 18, 1915, Woodson wrote to Grimke, "I am not afraid of being sued by white businessmen. In fact, I should welcome such a lawsuit." He went on to say that it would do the cause much good. "Let us banish fear. We have been in this mental state for 3 centuries. I am a radical. I am ready to act. If I can find brave men to help me, I'm loving his spirit. He seems like he might have been somebody that was a part of my tribe. I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, Mr. Woodson's difference of opinion with Grimke, who wanted a more conservative course, contributed to Woodson's ending his affiliation with the NAACP. Woodson devoted the rest of his life to historical research. He worked to preserve the history of African Americans and accumulated a collection of thousands of artifacts and publications. He noted that African American contributions were overlooked, ignored, and even suppressed by the writers of history textbooks and the teachers who used them. So true, still clear that day. Race prejudice, he concluded, is merely the logical result of tradition, the inevitable outcome of thorough instructions to the effect that the Negro has never contributed anything to the progress of mankind. And we all know that's a lie, because we created majority of everything. Okay? All right, back to it. Yeah. In 1926, Woodson pioneered the celebration of Negro History Week, designated for the second week in February to coincide with marking the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. The week of recognition became accepted and has been extended as the full month of February, now known as Black History Month. Woodson believed in self-reliance and racial respect, values he shared with Marcus Garvey, a Jamaican activist who worked in New York. Woodson became a regular columnist for Garvey's weekly Negro World. Woodson's political activism placed him at the center of a circle of many black intellectuals and activists from the 1920s to the 1940s. Corresponded with W.E.B. Du Bois, John E. Bruce, Arturo Alfonso Schomburg, Hubert H. Harrison, and T. Thomas Fortune, among others. Even with the extended duties of the association, Woodson made time to write academic works such as The History of the Negro Church in 1922, The Miseducation of the Negro in 1933. And others which continue to have wide readership until this day. Woodson was ostracized by some of his contemporaries because of his insistence on defining a category of history related to ethnic culture and race. At this time, these educators felt that it was wrong to teach or understand African American history as separate from more general American history. According to these educators, Negroes were simply Americans, darker skinned, but with no history apart from that of any other. Thus, Woodson's effort to get black culture and history into the curricula of institutions, even historically black colleges, were often unsuccessful. Today, African American studies have become specialized fields of study in history, music, culture, literature, and other areas. In addition, there is more emphasis on African American contributions to general American culture. The United States government celebrates Black History Month. Go ahead, Mr. Woodson. Thank you. Carter G. Woodson died suddenly from a heart attack in the office within his home in the Shaw neighborhood of Washington, D.C. on April 3, 1950, at the age of 74. The Woodson's body was laid to rest in the Lincoln Memorial Cemetery in Suitland, Maryland. Mr. Woodson deserves credit for so many things because he did so much, but I'm just going to go ahead and highlight some of his most predominant ones. Here we go. In 1926, Woodson received the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People's Spingarn. The Carter G. Woodson Book Award was established in 1974 for the most distinguished social science books appropriate for young readers that depict ethnicity in the United States. The U.S. Postal Service issued a 20-cent stamp honoring Woodson in 1984. In 1992, the Library of Congress held an exhibition entitled Moving Back Barriers, The Legacy of Carter G. Woodson. Woodson had donated his collection of 5,000 items from the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries to the library. His Washington, D.C. home has been preserved and designated the Carter G. Woodson Home National Historic Site. In 2002, scholar Molifi Kete Asante named Carter G. Woodson on his list of 100 greatest African Americans. Woodson's most cherished ambition, a 6-volume Encyclopedia Africana, lay incomplete at the time of his death. honestly so happy that I've decided to start doing this, and I hope you guys are too, because I'm learning so much and I'm finding out so much about our history. It's amazing. So until we meet again, y'all should go ahead and go pick up one of Mr. Woodson's books and read it. But I'll be back, of course. Take care. Have a great Saturday.